Welcome to Disturbing the Priest. Today I'm joined by Old Head, and we are reviewing and ranking the songs of State of
State of Euphoria.
Euphoria. There it is. I
Yes.
have the vinyl right here on Megaforce. And yeah, we're gonna review the tracks from 1988, their fourth record.
Hmm.
Of course, we have Joey Belladonna, Scott Ian, Charlie Benante, Frank Bello, Dan Spitz. Pretty good lineup.
The
Produced.
the quintessential lineup, in my opinion. Yes.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Produced by Anthrax and Mark Dodson. So yeah, and we can get into the production and all that. But Old Head,
Hmm.
what's going on, man? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm glad you asked. This seems like fun. Plus, you had me at. We're going to talk about State of Euphoria because it's one of my favorite albums ever, and the album that got me into thrash way back. I first heard it in 1990, and that was my first thrash metal band I had ever heard. So it's a very important album for me.
Wow. Yeah. Every time I look up this record, it's just Old Head, Old Head, Old Head. So
Yeah, I'm
let's add
quite
one
fond of
more.
it.
Why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you want to just get into it a little more, what does this album mean to you? Like, why do you have such a connection to this record, to the music itself?
Yeah, it really was the one of those instances where I didn't really know about. I had just gotten into like heavier music, but not really metal. Because in 1990, I was 12. I was 12 years old, and I'd gotten into like your Guns N' Roses and random stuff like that, but not. I hadn't really gotten into heavier stuff yet, and I knew of some of these bands, but I had never listened to these bands. And a girl I went to school with, I always famously tell the story. She lended me two cassette tapes. One of them was the debut album from Trickster, and the other one was State of Euphoria. And as much as I do enjoy the Trickster album, it wasn't the one that did it for me at that time. I just remember playing the tape and hearing once it gets into the verse in Be All End All, with that driving drum beat and everything. I'd never heard anything like it. And it was just a sound that all of a sudden I was just wanting to seek out everywhere. And it's just been a sound, that classic thrash metal sound has been something that it just does something to me. Those are certain sounds that like that style is like from that period from the mid 80s to the mid 90s, pretty much any band that was doing that sound, I at least enjoy what they're doing because there's something about it that just connects with me. So, and the beginning of that was State of Euphoria.
Interesting. I'm coming at it at a different angle because I got to this after I saw them live for the first time. I was still in high school,
Uh,
and this was like 2015, I think,
mhm.
2016 maybe. And they played Antisocial, which they play at like every show. And I'm like, oh, you know
Yeah.
what? I haven't listened to that album. And I knew it was like, oh, it's like their fourth record. It's early 80s Anthrax. So I listened to it and it just did not click with me until,
Mhm.
a few listens later. I'm like, I see why people really like this album. Now, there are people who are kind of mixed on this record.
Yeah.
And I do understand why. I think maybe this album could have been shorter. Its runtime
Oh.
is what,
Mhm.
52 minutes?
I guess you're right. It could be a bit shorter. It's never seemed overly long to me, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Because it's like if this was like maybe if you cut out like 10 minutes, I
Hmm.
think it would be very strong, or even like minimum like 35.
Yeah.
Like this could have been just a very, very killer record. Not saying that it's bad by any means, but I feel like there's a couple instances where it's like, does this song need to be like 7.5 minutes? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you agree there, but
On this album, no. There's plenty of albums where I think songs could be shorter. This one, I don't really get that feeling at all. I really think that the opinion of the album at the time, because you're following Among the Living, which was not only like their sort of breakthrough record, but it's just jam packed with really memorable classic songs. This one doesn't have as many of those standout tracks. So I can kind of understand that maybe as the fans back in the day were like, oh, this album just doesn't have the same classics or the same energy. I mean, I've always thought that it's better produced than Among the Living is. But there's also the thing where the guys in Anthrax have made it very apparent that the album was rushed because they had a tour with, I believe, Iron Maiden that was in the books, and they were ready to go on tour, so they quickly threw together State of Euphoria. But a lot of bands did that. Like, there's a whole lot of classic albums from that era that the band will tell you that, oh, we had to quickly go on a tour and quickly get these songs together and quickly record them. And that could be another thing about it. People feel like it sounds like it was rushed. But it's weird for me to think of it that way because it's the first one I've heard, but like I ever heard. So it's like, I don't know. It sounds how it's supposed to sound. I think maybe if I had heard them on Among the Living and then heard State of Euphoria, maybe I would feel different. But that's not how it happened for me. So
Interesting. Now you brought up the production. I find the production to be pretty dry, which I think benefits this record. I do feel like sometimes the guitars are a little far back in the mix, though.
sure.
And I feel like maybe that's my biggest problem with the production on this album. Is this something you agree with?
Yeah, you're that's Mark Dotson it was famous for making albums where the especially the drums are a lot louder than anything else, and sometimes it makes the guitars sound like they're kind of far away. I'm pretty sure he did a Testament album and a Sacred Reich album, I believe, that sounds like that too. He did a whole bunch of bands all around that same time, and I think people could make the argument that all of those albums could do with some beefier guitar. So
Sure. I will have to admit, though, Charlie sounds like excellent on this.
oh yeah, yeah.
Like the whole band sounds so tight. It's funny hearing all these things people talk about. It's Rush, this and that, but I feel like the performance here is like really top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at that point they were just at the top of their game as a band. Like, just the touring for Among the Living. I think this is a great example of a band that knows that they're at the top of their game and they're sort of riding that wave of like, oh, shit's happening now. And so the creativity's flowing, you're good at what you're doing because you've been out there, cranking it out every night. So I think that if any other band, there's other bands, but like most bands, given like, oh, please wrap up writing some songs very quickly and record an album, it's not going to sound anywhere near as good as State of Euphoria. It has to be a band like that at that point in their career for an album that's quote unquote rushed to sound this good. I feel.
Yeah. Maybe, I feel like a problem people might have with this record is also just like the approach to songwriting, where I feel like they rely more on the weight of the riff and just the weight of the songwriting opposed to being like just having this very thrashy approach, which was very popular. Like we're talking 88. You know what I mean? And I do like the mid-tempo songs here. Like they're really great. I do love the heaviness. And I find that maybe people are just too attached to like pure, like, Paul Bailoff, Exodus mindset thrash metal.
Sure. Yeah, and that's totally not me at all.
Me too.
I love all of that stuff, but I famously love the albums where these thrash bands make non-thrash albums. Doesn't mean I don't like the thrash album that they made, but there's something about a band that makes Among the Living, and you can look at that and go, this thing's a fucking beast. It's amazing. It's a thrash metal classic. And then you can go, you know what? I'm going to throw Sound of White Noise on after this. And like, it's nothing like that, but for some reason that just really makes me happy when a band just goes, you know what? Let's just do something else. We already did that. We did the classic thrash,
Yeah,
So,
like for me, as much as I like that first Megadeth record, I do really like Cryptic Writings.
yeah.
And it's like if you can write a good song, that's all I care about. At the end of the day, I don't care if you're melting my face off with riffs. Like I just want good music. Is that too much to ask in this day and age? You know what I mean?
I think that a lot of people hold metal and whatever subgenre they're really into, in this case thrash. I think some people hold it very dear, and so they want it to sound a certain way. But I think that a lot of times that comes with people who don't really listen to a lot of music. I always, make the comparison of like, there are people out there that like, I love Anthrax. This other guy over here loves Anthrax, but what he loves to do most of the time with his life is watch football. So
Right.
like his life does not revolve around music. And so if he's going to listen to a thrash metal band, he's probably going to be like, well, I'd like it to sound like this and not like something else because I don't listen to that much music. Whereas I think other people, I don't know if you're as varied as I am, but I mean, I listen to everything from, I don't know, like REM all the way to like Deicide. Like it's all of that shit. And so it doesn't hit me the same way because I don't hold a style of music to a standard of like, well, it has to sound like this. I'm just like, well, it doesn't. I just want it to be good. And if it is a thrash metal album and it's good, great. And if it's something else and it's good, that's fine too.
It's very
In fact,
relatable for me. I'm into jazz. I'm into rap. I'm into a lot.
mhm.
I wasn't born, with like a battle vest and all that. Like I
Yeah,
eventually
yeah.
got into it, and then I'm like, okay, this is my thing. This is what I really cling on to. But of course, there's other genres and artists and bands I do like. But at the same time, it makes me appreciate when metal bands don't do like the classic, let's like write the craziest thing ever. And I can see good songwriting in that sense, and not just,
Hmm.
well, it's not as fast as this and that, so it sucks.
Yeah.
And maybe this record suffers a little bit of that from fans in '88, and maybe that's a
Yeah.
reason why people might be a little mixed.
Yeah, I can see that too. It does slow it down a little bit, but I mean also you could look at it as it's a stepping point between among the living and persistence of time, which would get even more sort of mid tempo while still being thrashy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do want to say the album art as well. I think is actually pretty incredible. I
I
think
love it.
it's just a statement. I like everything about it. The logo on each side. You love it. You said I
Oh
really do
yeah.
like it.
I don't. I over the years I've grown to really like anything that's the color yellow, and I really think it started with that album cover. I think just seeing it and just the image because it's an interesting image because it's like it's not the most perfectly done album cover, and you're like, who is this person's face? Is that supposed to be Joey or somebody that looks like Joey? And then it's like it's just going around and on that circle and then it's just yellow. It's so like for for that time period seems out of left field, and there's something like there no other album cover looks like that album cover, and so I'm just like, yeah, that does it for me.
Yeah, it's very unique at the time because it was all like that kind of Ed Repka stuff, where it's like,
Hmm.
let's make something that any kid will see and just be like, this is awesome. Kind of that whole like, Iron Maiden debut album kind of thing,
Yeah, and
where
they
it's
did that
like,
with spreading the disease. Spreading the disease has that sort of classic metal album cover kind of thing. Among the Living is a little bit more unique even from that. So I think from early on, I feel like the guys in Anthrax were kind of on a different path from a lot of bands, even though they sprang from this thrash metal stuff. Because I mean, very early on, it was already they were already supporting like hip hop and doing "I'm the Man" and shit like that. So I think in every way possible, they were like the thrash band that was like, yeah, we don't really care about how you think things are supposed to look or how we're supposed to dress or whatever. And they sort of wore that on their sleeve. It's like we're just kind of like the oddball thrash metal band in most ways.
yeah, and the sense of humor as
Yeah.
well was
Hmm.
very like all over this band. And yeah, even like the later stuff as well. But that back also maybe for me would have been a little bit of a turn off, to be honest. Because it's like, what kind of band is this? What's going
So,
on?
so funny enough, at the time in 1990, I was a big fan of Mad Magazine, and I could tell that that was the artist from Mad Magazine that did
Oh,
that.
is it?
Yeah, he's one of the artists that did Mad Magazine stuff. And so when I saw that, I went, that looks real familiar. And if you look at 80s Mad Magazine covers, a lot of them, you'll notice the same style. I can't remember the artist's name, but yeah, he did Mad
Yeah,
Magazine.
well, one of them has a spy versus spy shirt, so that makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Well,
Hmm.
hey, I feel like we should just jump into this ranking. So what we're gonna do
Sure.
here is rank the songs from this record from least favorite to favorite. So
Hmm.
if you want to kick us off here with your least favorite track from this record.
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad you said least favorite because I don't. These are all great tracks to me. I think it's pretty clear that number 10 should be 13 because it's not even really a song. It's just a. I don't even know why it's there. So that's my number 10.
What's the point of it?
I don't know. It's as big of a fan as I am of this album. I've never really dug that deep to find out what it is and why it's there. That's why hopefully one of these days I end up getting to interview somebody from Anthrax because I'm going to ask them all these kind of oddball questions like 13, what's that song all about? I know it's 40 years old now, but come on.
Yeah,
What's
and
that song all about?
I swear there's like a voice in there as
Yeah.
well, but I don't know. Like when you look online, it's just says instrumental. I'm like, no, it isn't. You
Well,
know?
you can hear them saying 13, 13, and then there's somebody else which sounds like Charlie doing a weird voice, but
Yeah,
I've never been able to really make out what he's saying. But
I don't know.
either way, like it's not that it's bad. It's just not necessary for the album. It's just like, it's just a weird little thing that they threw in there close to the end.
Yeah, it really makes no sense. That's what was my bottom pick as well. It's like, you know, a weird interlude. There's some weird atmosphere in the beginning of it.
Hmm.
Like I remember listening to it blind for the first time through a CD, and I'm not really, paying attention what track is, how long each one is. It's not like Spotify where you instantly see the thing start scrolling. And you're like, whoa, what's going on? And I
Yeah,
was like, what the hell is happening? Yeah, it's weird. It kind of just keeps you on your feet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And makes sure you're still paying attention. But 50 seconds long too.
yeah.
Pretty insane. But anyway, so if you want to continue here.
Sweet. My number 9 is Schism, and really like the bottom two like actual songs here. They're kind of separated by a midsection that I like, whereas Schism doesn't really have a big like moshy midsection to it, but I do like the verses aren't amazing, but I think the chorus kind of picks up, or I guess it would be the pre-chorus that kind of picks it up a little bit for me. But it does. I think it suffers from that later album, and you can kind of tell that that's why it's later in the album because it's like it's a good song, but it has less qualities that I can point to and go, ooh, that's fucking badass. That so it easily just made it at number 9 for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like maybe our list might differ here. That's very exciting. Well, for me, it's going to be Misery Loves Company as my
Okay.
next pick. Not super memorable for me,
Hmm.
actually.
Yeah.
I'm not really into the breathy delivery from
Hmm.
Joey. It's just not really creepy, but instead it just sounds like someone trying to sing right after hitting an inhaler. That's what I that's what it sounds like, and I just can't get into it. I really
Yeah.
can't. But I do like the middle section. I really do,
Yeah.
especially that heavy rhythm playing is really great. And the soloing is really good too. A lot of good solos on this record,
Dan
I find.
Spitz, man,
Yeah.
that guy was an underrated lead guitar player, and he brought such like the solos that he wrote sound like nobody else's solos, and he would sometimes fit things in that I'm like, I never would have thought to play that as a solo for this, and one of the many reasons why I say like that's the quintessential lineup because you have his leads. The guy they got now, the was he is he in Paradise Lost? Is that the guy that's in that's the
Yeah, I
guitar
think
player now?
so. I believe.
That
Yeah.
guy's fucking great, but he does not have that sort of weird whatever angle that Dan Spitz came from with his solos. Just it was nowhere near what I would be thinking of. Whereas you can go to other bands, other thrash bands, and you hear the solos and you go, this makes a little more sense melodically. But it grew to be a thing that I really loved about. Anthrax.
Yeah, I feel like Dan definitely understands the assignment of like
Yeah.
what this band is.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And his soloing is just so incredible on this record. And I think the leads are some of the biggest strengths of this album. But anyway, if you want to continue with your next pick.
My number 8 is Misery Loves Company.
Okay.
And I agree with you about that's really like I was like, which one goes where? And it's the midsection of Misery Loves Company that put it up one notch, because it's like a different version of an earlier riff, but slowed down. And that's, for metalheads, that's always like a bonus when you hear like a cool riff and then it's slower. It's like, oh shit, it's about to go down. But it still goes lower for me because especially the chorus. I don't have a problem with the verses. I kind of like the variety in Joey's vocals, but the chorus is just kind of like, it's just them saying the title of the song, and sometimes that works in certain songs, and then other times I'm like, I wish you could have done something a little bit different, because it's based on the book Misery by Stephen King, and I'm like, maybe they could have like taken something else from the book and made it the chorus instead of Misery Loves Company. I don't know. It At this point it is what it is, but I feel like the chorus could have been better in that song.
I agree. I do agree with the chorus. And it just makes me, I know this predates it, but it just makes me think of the Black Album every time I hear it. That line. But yeah, I don't know. They
Because
famously
of My
do.
Friend of Misery, is that what it
Yes,
is?
My Friend of Misery, which is
Yeah.
so weirdly specific.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It is in line with Anthrax though, because they love having, especially on the record before, a
Hmm.
lot of great pop culture references. Well, my next one's going to be Now It's Dark. And
Okay.
just for me, just not super memorable.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm just not crazy about some of the vocal melodies on here. The chorus is really fun though. I really do dig the chorus and the
Hmm.
main riff as well. That riff though at like the 3-minute mark
Hmm.
is really awesome. I love the delivery of I am the one fucking well dressed. I'm one fucking well dressed man. Love that. Love that
Yeah.
line so much.
Yeah.
But Now It's Dark, not a bad track by any means. These songs I'm talking about, even Misery Loves Company, I do really enjoy.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's gonna be my next pick there.
Okay. My number 7 is Out of Sight, Out of Mind, which is a song that I really like, but because I honestly, like, I've never thought about ranking the songs on this album, and it wasn't until then that I'm like, wow, I really like that song, but I guess not as much as I thought. I do like the lyrics on Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I do love that it's like kind of like a diss track a little bit. I don't know who it's directed to. That'd be another question I'd ask them. Hey, who was stealing your riffs? Who did you write this song about? But the one thing that I do really like is the riff at the beginning, because it's, once again, it's an odd riff that you're like, what is about to happen in this song? Because really, like a lot of thrash metal riffs, there's a lot of dan, 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 but this is like dan, 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 dan. It's a totally different rhythm than what you'd be expecting. And just the way it starts, I'm always like, wow, that's really an interesting way to come at writing like the intro riff to this. But then of course it gets into the thrashy part, and it's and the the downbeat kind of thrashy part is very similar to the song that just happened before. So I'm just like, all right, well, maybe this one isn't a super strong one, but I do really like it. And on all these songs, Joey sounds fantastic. Like I just the vocal recording of Joey on Among the Living has always really bummed me out. I don't know why they made his vocals sound like he's trapped in a closet away from the band, but finally in State of Euphoria, like it sounds good. He sounds like a part of the band, and he's I mean, to me, like he's like the this is I'd say this is probably in neck and neck with Persistence of Time for like I think his strongest vocals for in Anthrax.
I can see
And
that.
a lot of people would go for for Among the Living, obviously, but the whole package of like not just how much he nails the vocals and the singing, but how the vocals are produced. The whole thing is just like sounds great. Anyway, sorry, I went off there for a
Well, that's the
second.
point. I'm dying to see what your top ones are now because that's kind of surprising. But that's what's fun about doing all this. For me, I'm going to go with "Who Cares Wins" next.
Okay.
I do really like the
There's that long one.
ominous. Yeah, like I really do like the ominous intro. I really do,
Hmm.
which I think evolves really naturally into that rhythm section.
Yeah.
I really do. I love the riff under the solo. There's so many like hidden riffs on this song that I hear for 2 seconds and go, whoa, that was great. And then it's gone. Uh,
Yeah.
the riff before the chorus, I really love that riff.
Hmm.
And this song potentially has, I think, maybe the best solo on the record. I think
Okay.
potentially. And I don't know. I just feel like this song overstays its welcome a little bit. It's
Yeah.
almost 8 minutes.
Hmm.
It kind of feels a little bit like a marathon sometimes. An 8 minute song, and I feel like maybe I kind of wish it had more dynamics to it in terms of sound,
Hmm.
because the whole thing's kind of like it does have that mid tempo heavy feel to it. But I don't know. There's so many moving parts in it at the same time. So maybe I'm kind of nitpicking here. But yeah, who cares
That's
wins.
what you're supposed to do when you rank
Right.
these things. You got to nitpick.
Yeah. But yeah, who cares what? Not bad. Not a bad song by any means. But yeah, I feel like sometimes I got to be in like the mood for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number six is finale or finally, however you want to say it. Great closer for the album. I really like the song. I just my top five songs on this album are like really strong. And while finale is great, it yeah, it's missing something that the other five have. But I've always just really liked it closing out the album, and I like the it's not as long as Who Cares Wins, but it fits in kind of an epic quality. It goes a lot of different places, which I've always really enjoyed. And I really like, once again, I really like Joey's delivery of the vocals in it. But it's just it's really weird talking about some of these songs because I'm like, really, finale is like this at number six, but I'm like, well, no, there's five above it that I love way more. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I do like doing these, because I feel like I learn about my own enjoyment of some of these albums, that I
Hmm.
haven't really thought of. And yeah, okay. Next for me, Antisocial. That's going
Okay.
to be my next pick. And yeah, is this song a live staple? I don't know. I kind of just would prefer some studio original material. You know what I mean? Some original material. But
Hmm.
I have to admit, still a fun song, still
Yeah.
very catchy. The cover translates so well with this band sound. It works
Hmm.
extremely well. I like it way better than the original. The original's still cool. I of
Yeah.
course discovered the original from this, but
Yeah. Me
yeah,
too.
I enjoy it every time it's on. But maybe I've just heard it too much. Maybe that's
Hmm.
the problem. But for me, it's gonna sit kind of in the middle there for my ranking.
Yeah. That's actually my number five.
Okay.
I feel the same way as you. I had to keep in mind that I have heard the song a lot and I am tired of them playing it live. Honestly, like I don't I want them to cut that song and Got the Time out of their set list because I love both of them, but if you're going to see this band and now they have this giant catalog of music, like we've heard those two songs, just leave room for something else because I've seen them a few times, and I think the set lists, aside from one or two tracks, was exactly the same. And but thinking about the actual song on the album, I put it at five because like it's a cover, but something about the song and obviously the vibe of the band aesthetically and the music video for Antisocial, everything about it is very nostalgic for me. So it's just one of those songs that you put it on and I'm just like, I feel like I'm back in the 80s now with this particular song because it feels like that combination of we got the thrash metal, but we're having a good time. and everything's great. We're riding high. All the thrash bands are having a great time, and so Antisocial for me always just gets that feeling going. And I do like, I like this better than the original, but it, there's a few bands that have managed to do a cover that I actually like better than the original, but not a lot. But Antisocial is definitely one of them. But I really think its biggest flaw is that it's just overplayed, and I have to divorce myself from that and go, look, yes, you've heard this song a lot, but really, when you're thinking about it, it's really really good. It's a great cover and it's a fun song, but not as, I don't like it as much as the top four, which are like original Anthrax songs.
Definitely, and I agree with you for sure, because it's like I've seen Anthrax a number of times and it's like, all right, could you just play a deep cut or something?
Yeah.
That's why, I'm also a Megadeth fan as well, and I feel like these bands maybe have like set list issues where it's like they just are too afraid to like dive into those deep cuts.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot, and I've talked about this randomly because Metallica is my favorite band of all time, so I've seen them a lot of times and I talk about them a lot, and I do have that thing where especially the second half of their shows now, exactly what they're going to play and how they're going to end the show, and the last time I saw them, I had to like think about it and go, you know what? My wife went with me, and her sister and her sister's boyfriend, it was the first time he had seen Metallica, and him getting to hear Inner Sandman, Seek and Destroy, the songs that they just play all the fucking time. I was like, okay, no, wait, never mind. Like, it's that thing. Every show is somebody's first show. And are you going to be like, nah, you don't need to hear those songs? And I'm just like, so like all these bands, Megadeth included, I think they know that there's those certain songs that if it's your first Megadeth show, you need to hear this song. You need to hear them play this song. Unfortunately, for bigger fans like us, where we've seen these bands a few times, then it becomes like, can't you do like a deep cuts tour for just us, us big fans? But unfortunately, we don't get that.
But old head, here's the problem. I like The Conjuring. All right. I want to hear Megadeth play that. And I feel like when maybe a new fan is seeing Megadeth for the first time and maybe sees a song like that they've never heard before, that might even lock them in even more. I've been there with certain bands where I was getting into them for the first time. I went to see them. They played a song I didn't know, and I went, whoa, what is that? Found out it was a deep cut, went to that record and really got into the band, where it's like with current Megadeth, and not to get on a tangent, but like if you got into the band now and you liked The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, the second Dave moves on, it's like bye last album I worked on, never again. It's you will Endgame, will never hear it. It sucks. I got into the band after Endgame. I will never hear a single song off that record live.
Yeah,
at least with Metallica, they will get into Saint Anger. They will touch Saint Anger.
They will.
They will. Yeah.
I'm always happy when they do. But once again, I like the variety. I'm like, oh, this band that wrote Ride the Lightning also, well, I guess Dave wrote Ride the Lightning. Let's as we've so recently found that he's definitely double downing on all that. But like, I don't know, let's say something more like Master of Puppets, and like, oh, they wrote that and this. It's just a really cool variety in the show. But unfortunately, like, yeah, with Megadeth, I really do. It's become a thing where, for the early stuff, I would like to hear the deep cuts, but then there's a handful of albums from I'm not the biggest fan of like modern Megadeth overall, but they're like Endgame's one of them. Endgame, and then what was the one before Endgame?
United Abominations.
United Abominations. Those both have songs on them that I'm just like, break those guys out, man. Those are fucking great. But I know what you're saying, because it's like now he's got one more album's worth of shit that he can play from, and then he has to get rid of all this other shit. But people still want Hangar 18. They still want Symphony of Destruction.
But what sucks at the same time, and again, like on this tangent, and maybe Anthrax is guilty of this as well, but like with Megadeth, they will play those 3 singles, and then that's it. With what's great about Metallica is they will shuffle through the whole record
Sure,
eventually.
sure.
You know, I don't think we've heard Room of Mirrors yet, but anyway, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's a
Anyway,
different
was it
discussion. But Antisocial was my number 5, so you're on to
got
number
it.
4.
Okay, so for me, this is where maybe we differ the most. Schism for me. I
Okay.
really do love this song. I love how unique the chorus is, the like schism. I love that. I really do
Hmm.
like that. Which is I find like a really hard chorus to pull off. Like it's kind of I feel like bands have tried something similar. Not
Yeah.
to go back to Megadeth, but the insomnium. Like I just I'm not into that, but I feel like
Oh,
this
okay.
is where it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like it is something that's hard to pull off, and I feel like Anthrax do it here. And yeah, the structure of the song is a lot of fun as
Hmm.
well. I really do like that, and there's a lot of I find there to be a lot of memorable melodies too. But Schism
Hmm.
for me.
Nice. My number 4 is Who Cares Wins. Um, I I've never really been bothered by the length of the song. I've always just really liked the mood of it, because it is, it's about heavy stuff. It's about, homelessness, but I think it comes across, and it's I think I do. I think I kind of agree with you that it could be a little more dynamic with different parts if for a song that's that long. But I've never really, like, talking about an album like this that I've lived with for this long. It just sounds how it's supposed to sound, and so I just I've always really liked the vibe of this one, and I kind of miss a little bit. It still happens a little bit today, but I miss late 80s thrash where there was a whole lot of social and political commentary, because that's how I was introduced to it. It's like that's what all the bands were writing about. And yeah, so I've always liked Who Cares Wins because of that.
Yeah, I love the lyrics of that track.
Mhm.
I did forget to mention that. Next up for me, Make Me Laugh.
Nice.
Some really unique vocal melodies here from
Hmm.
Joey. And I feel like that's what really makes the song stand out. Classic Anthrax catchy chorus here. Just love it. Some great rapid fire drumming here,
Hmm.
especially at that 3.5 minute mark. Just excellent with that transition into the solo. So good. Definitely one of the heavier and tighter tracks on the record. I return to this one a lot, actually.
Hmm.
Now, this is the top 4. This is where like I this is the meat of the record for me. The songs I really turn to. But yeah,
Hmm.
Make Me Laugh is my number 4.
Nice. My number 3 is Now It's Dark, which I love everything about this song. I think some of the lyrics are. I think it's the movie Blue Velvet that they took from.
It is, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so it's a really good, like, the first time I heard the album was, on cassette. So, Who Cares Wins is always the end of side 1, which it's a great closer for side 1, and then Now It's Dark is an amazing beginning of side 2. So they're both songs that just, like, have always stood out with me as, like, yeah, that's a great beginning to the second side. And it's got, and the core, yeah, you said it yourself, the chorus is fun as hell. The Don't you fucking look at me, like that whole thing is just a lot of fun. So and I've always thought Now It's Dark is just one of the more memorable tracks from this album. So it's my number 1.
It's
Not my
just
number 1, my
so
number
that
3.
yeah, that chorus is just so Anthrax. It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But yeah, so this is my top 3 now, and I'm gonna go with Finale, where I
Nice.
feel like maybe this is where we differ a little bit. I really do love this track, and it's cool how the last song on the record is called Finale. I
Yeah,
feel like not a lot of bands do that, but great cinematic closer. I
yeah.
think I love that opening groove driven riff
Hmm.
as well, which evolves like just so nicely into that heavy rhythm section. I also like how much energy is in the later half of the song
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
Just great rapid fire riffage, so aggressive, and the soloing is fantastic too. Love Finale, great
Hmm.
stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, this was interesting to me because my number 2 is Be All End All, and By all accounts, it should be my number one because it's the most important thrash metal song I've ever heard because it was the first thrash metal song I ever heard. So it still really like gets to me every time I hear it. But I think when I was nitpicking, much like you are, I was like, okay, I love the song, it's amazing, but there's a little bit in the chorus of the sing-songy where they're just the melody of the vocals goes exactly with the guitar part, and I have to go, okay, that's a little lazy in the songwriting side of things for me. But that's just nitpicking where I just had to go, okay, I'm going to knock that down to number two because the chorus could be better, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard, it's really tough with this one because everything from the beginning of the song, with the cello leading into the build up of the beginning of the song, it still gets to me the same way it did because just hearing that first when it breaks into that first verse, like that was like an awakening for me of like this kind of music exists, and but I had to put it at number two because it's great, but the chorus I guess maybe could be better.
I'm going to build off everything you're saying because that is my number two as well. Be all
Nice.
end all. I really like the cello intro, and that's every review I read of this record is like the cello's cool. It's like it's in the album for like like 5 seconds, but
Well,
yeah,
I mean, especially now, 40 years removed or whatever from this album, that's that. Other bands were doing like, well, we're gonna have an acoustic guitar intro or whatever it is. I can't think of another thrash band that had a cello opening up the album. I
even
mean,
today that doesn't what besides like Mekong Delta. I don't think there's really any band, any
yeah,
thrash metal band that's ever done that.
yeah, and so it's now even more unique of a beginning of the album.
Yeah, and it is great. I do love it.
Hmm.
I think it fits very nicely. And yeah, so I love the momentum that builds
Hmm.
over time in this song. Really catchy chorus as well. I feel like the most catchy chorus on the whole record.
Hmm.
For me, Charlie Benante kills it on this song. And I really enjoy the heavy section as well
Yeah.
around the 4 minute mark, which is just, again, so good.
Once
But
again, it's like it's because they do those quote unquote mosh sections where it gets slower and heavier. Like that's always works for me.
and there's this really underrated bass line in the song as
Hmm.
well that I feel like not enough people talk about, but just great bass work, just great song, very good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
So yeah,
out of sight, out of mind.
we got to give Frank Bello his flowers because he is like seems like the heartbeat of that band. Like even now, he's the guy on the stage that seems to love the songs more than anybody else on that stage. And he does all the backing vocals, and he's just like kind of one of those, like a secret weapon of that band. I think, especially as a live show.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. He's awesome. And I feel like on this track, he does shine. Pretty underrated, I think. So, number one,
Number one,
our
make me
favorite.
laugh. Make me laugh
Okay.
is fucking perfect. I love the lyrics. Any chance to poke at the ridiculous religious, zealots and that kind of shit is good for me. But the they managed to do it in like in kind of like a humorous way. I mean, even in the chorus, God says, "Baby, do some blow." All that. The lyrics are not that serious, but it's still a really great, just driving like metal song. I've also very much always appreciated the fact that it's got that in the beginning of it. There's that little moment that sounds like one from Metallica.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
but that came out the same year, so it's like Okay, well, but then people could say that they were both ripping off Dark Angel at that point. But hey, that's a that's a different story. But I've
That is
always loved
true.
that little moment because it's almost like why did because that part doesn't. I think it repeats one more time in the song, but it's not important to the song. It's just a thing that's thrown in there. So there's that part of me that always goes, "Hey, I wonder if like they heard, Metallica what they were working on, and then went, hey, let's just cheekily throw this into this song." Maybe not. Maybe it was just a coincidence. But I've
Like
always
just to
really,
fuck with them, pretty much.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Make Me Laugh is just like for me the song on the album where like I feel like every aspect is nailed. It's got the fast thrashiness to it. It goes in a lot of different places, so it feels kind of epic, even though it's not super long. Joey sounds great. Obviously, the riffs are great. Yeah, it's just really like kind of like the ultimate package on this album. If I was gonna pick a song from this album, it'd be Make Me Laugh.
I feel like when this band does any kind of like political commentary or any commentary on society, they do it so well.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
something I would love to have them leaned on more during this era of the band,
Mhm.
but every like, hey, I'll take the pop culture references.
Yeah,
I
they
do love them.
yeah yeah, and I think that's kind of I don't know because they're nerds at the end of the day. So you're gonna have all the comic books and horror stuff, even today. Like I think they still pull from a lot of that stuff. But
Yeah, and also at the time, like every thrash band was doing that, talking about our world it sucks. Like it was so many bands. So it was kind of, I guess, maybe them being a little more original and standing out. And again, like you're saying, it's something they also very much enjoy. So my number one, Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I know
nice.
maybe a little tropey, but I just love this song. I
Hmm.
love the groove on the main riff, which is made even heavier with the drums. Some
Hmm.
of the catchiest lyrics and melodies on the whole album for me, the verse lines to the pre-chorus, it's just so memorable. I just really love it. Even with the long runtime, the song flies by for me.
Yeah.
It really does. It's just something that totally could have been on Among the Living, I think.
Yeah, now that you mention it, now I'm all like, I think Out of Sight, Out of Mind should move up a couple spots for me, because like now that I'm thinking about it, that the verses is so cool, because just like
Right?
I complained about with Be All End All, where he sings kind of over the riff, this one the riff and the vocal line are completely different. The riff is doing something a little bit more busy, and he's just doing this sort of rising. He is this like the I there's something about it that's like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that's really cool.
I cling on to it right away. It's so
Yeah.
cool. It's so Anthrax.
Yeah.
It's God, it's one of my favorites. Well, hey, there we go. That is all the songs ranked. And just
Yeah.
to real quick go over my list, it's 13, Misery Loves Company, Now It's Dark, Who Cares, Wins, Antisocial, Schism, Make Me Laugh, Finale, Be All End All, Out of Sight, Out of Mind. That is my ranking.
And I'm gonna edit mine just at the last
Okay.
minute.
Yeah.
So 13, Schism, Misery Love Company, Finale, Antisocial, then Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I'm putting that in the top five. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's got to be top five. Four, Who Cares Wins. Three, Now It's Dark. Two, BL End All, and one, Make Me Laugh.
Okay, now I forget if you've done this. Have you given this album a rating out of 10? Because
I don't really do that because I
that's
don't
fair.
like. What am I rating it against? If
I
you're
don't
talking
know.
about
It's
like how many stars for my enjoyment, 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Okay. Do you have letterbox? You know what I mean? It's like just something you would generally rate. And I know
So
maybe
in
I'm
the,
asking too much, which I understand because people are like, well, I don't like to look at it that way because sometimes you do look for flaws purposefully. You know
yeah,
what I
I
mean?
think it even you. It's funny that you mentioned Letterbox because I'm the same way because I'll go and like I rate movies, but I'm rating movies that if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, that movie's kind of bad," and I would go, "Sure, you're not wrong. I love it. 5 stars." And so it's like with an album like this, I love it. So it's gonna, but like in the context of their catalog,
Sure. Yeah. In the context of their
I
catalog,
it's still way up there for me. So it's still, I don't know, maybe at the very least 4.5 out of 5 stars
four
for
and a half
me.
out of five. Okay.
Because I don't really know. Because like this is my favorite Anthrax album, but when I listen to Persistence of Time, that one then becomes my favorite Anthrax album. It just depends on which one of these two is on at that point.
Right. I understand where you're coming from. I like, here's my issue is I do like ranking and comparing some of these. And as you as I just put you through that.
Yeah.
And I like, it's a great record. I definitely prefer the prior records to this, but that doesn't devalue this album. Like I don't know. I love old school thrash metal where there's a lot of mid-tempo stuff here, which is great, very well done. But at the same time, I feel like maybe some of the songs, as we were saying, maybe overstay their welcome a little bit, and some not as memorable. For me, I'm feeling like, an 8 out of 10 here for me. And there you have it. Very, very great album. State of Euphoria, Anthrax. Old Head, thank you so much.
Oh yeah,
for doing this.
It's been a blast. I love talking about. Well, I mean, especially when you pick albums I love. I'm like, yeah, I'll talk about albums I love all night long.
I've been diving into Anthrax, and I knew that you were very fond of this album. So I'm like, you know what, this might be a fun collaboration here. But I had a blast. I had a ton of fun.
Yeah, same
nerding out about the songs on certain records. And go check out Old Head's channel on YouTube. Some good stuff there. Just add Chuck Billy on.
I did.
Right?
I was very, very lucky to get to spend. And it's funny because like when they set up the interview, they're like, "How long do you need?" And I was like, "I guess just 30 minutes. I don't want to." Chuck Billy doesn't know who I am. I don't want to keep. And so like, unfortunately, like the interview went by really quick, and I'm just like, man, I should have asked for more time. But like that, there was that part of me that went, he doesn't know who I am. I'm just honored to be able to spend 25 minutes talking to him. So
I do a bunch of interviews. I feel the exact same way. I am hitting myself that email to interview him was put in my spam folder. I cry every night about it, but I'm looking forward to seeing the band on the road for sure. They're awesome. And Anthrax, which are on tour with Megadeth right now. But anyway,
who are supposed to have a fucking album out this year, Anthrax, if you're watching this.
It's been
where
9
is it?
years, right?
It's
9 years?
Going on 10. Like it's like I think that 2016 was the last Anthrax album.
What? Was it 2016?
I think so.
I can look right now. For All Kings, 2016, you're right.
Yeah. So it's a long time coming, and I'm sure I'm gonna like it. It's just the question of like how much, how is it gonna rank with the last few albums? Because at this point now I judge everything from the post John Bush era. I know it's not gonna sound like State of Euphoria, so I'm just like, worship music for All Kings. Where is it gonna sit in with those albums?
True.
So
yeah, for All Kings I actually did like quite a lot.
I did too,
but
a lot.
Anyway. That is our thoughts on the record. Let us know in the comments how you like this album. What are your favorite songs off it? How would you rank the tracks? Thank you again for watching. My name is Brandon Battick, and this has been Disturbing the Priest.
It's death! I've just seen death!